Afternoon, folks. Time of the P45 safe for another week. Right, so this session is around diversification of affiliate programs, looking at a few different publisher models. It's not a sales pitch for certain types of publishers, although we will be looking at kind of 4 newer up-and-coming publishers that we've been hearing about, A, from the publisher base, but also being asked about by our clients. More it's going to be about looking at how new traffic streams are adopted by the affiliate industry. How things that are mainstream today, 5 years ago, were the new types of affiliates coming out, and how the affiliates of today, tomorrow, could be the new big thing for your companies, particularly from an advertiser perspective. Let's see if this thing actually works. Yay, there we go. So if you ask a lot of people who maybe don't know about affiliate marketing, where they see affiliate in the broader spectrum of marketing channels, you often get something that looks like this, which is affiliate being in its own little world, its own little piece of the pie, basically. And it's kind of kept separate from everything else. And everybody thinks that it's this weird and wonderful place where stuff that's totally different from whatever else they're doing happens. And obviously, we all know that that's not necessarily true. The things that are up there alongside affiliate, things like social, things like paid search, things like mobile, they're all part of what affiliate marketing is about. The only difference is that our industry is paid on a cost per acquisition basis in the main. And that makes it kind of low risk. And as we heard from Neil's mobile panel earlier, advertisers more and more are looking at, specifically in the mobile space, to use affiliate marketing as that testing ground. So this is kind of how I see affiliate marketing, really. And obviously it was born out earlier in the mobile panel, in that affiliate marketing is not something that you do alongside your paid search. It's not something that you do alongside your display. It's not something you do alongside your mobile strategy. Affiliate marketing essentially is a playground. So the way I kind of always liken it to is when you're a kid and you're sitting on the beach and building sandcastles. If it doesn't work, you knock it down, start again type of situation. Affiliate is very much the same thing. It gives you a very low-risk way of trialing new and interesting ideas that's not going to necessarily eat into that very precious marketing budget if you're an advertiser. By and large, a lot of advertisers do dedicate budgets to affiliate, but really, affiliate's a cost of sale exercise. You know what percentage of your margin you're going to be paying out. You know what it's going to cost you. If you don't get anything, you don't pay anything. So it's a really interesting way of testing these new models, testing what people are talking about as the next traffic model and what's up and coming. What we're going to do is to give you some context and kind of paint the picture of what's happened previously, over the last 10 or 5 years in terms of traffic models that we all view as important today, is I've lined up a couple of questions, and I hope the answers come out the way that I've planned, otherwise I'm going to come unstuck. So if you can all grab your keypads, because it's kind of a voting exercise. This is a context question. So looking at paid search, not within affiliate, just looking at paid search as a way of generating revenue or branding for your company. I'd like everybody in the room, whether you affiliate or advertiser or network, to kind of vote as to whether or not you think paid search is an important part of the marketing mix. If you could all vote now, that'd be great. Excellent. So I can carry on with the presentation and you can keep listening to me. It's not unusual, right? We all know paid search drives a huge amount of volume, a huge amount of revenue. It's a very important way of not only getting your brand out there for your own sales, but also getting people to liken your brand to those of your competitors and potentially get some of those sales back. So it's not surprising because Google as a company, most of the paid search budget, especially in the UK, goes through Google. We all know this. Is fairly old in digital terms. So you've got Google as a company being incorporated in 1998, so it's 14 going on 15 years old, and AdWords has been around since 2000. To kind of put that into perspective though, I can remember what I was doing for New Year's on the millennium, what party I was at, who I was with, that kind of stuff. And I'm pretty sure most of you can as well, and that leads to a situation where most of us can probably remember a time before AdWords. So it's not necessarily like AdWords has always been here, but I think looking at the 92% of you said that it's important, it is accepted as a mainstream way of driving revenue for a business, right? It's nothing, you wouldn't be able to find a big corporation, I'd guess, who doesn't have an AdWords strategy, doesn't have a paid search strategy, who doesn't want to be featured within Google, whether it be on competitors' terms or their own. And another kind of paid question. Whoops, we've gone too far. There we go. Social. So now the next question is whether or not social is the right way of going about it. So again, it's a voting strategy. I'd like you guys to have a think about whether or not at the moment, as it stands, you think that having a presence on Facebook or Twitter is a very important part of a brand's either direct response, i.e. sales generating, or branding activity. Do you find having a social presence important at the moment? If you could vote now, that'd be great. Okay, thank you very much. I didn't really expect it to be that hard, to be honest. Although I have planned for it, so it's fine. But the general feeling with Facebook and Twitter is that if I'm talking to clients, if I'm talking to affiliates, agencies, networks like ourselves, is you can't not be on Facebook. You can't not have a Twitter feed. People have to be able to find you in a social context. We all know, looking at, again, the mobile session from earlier, social is where a lot of people spend their time. We all have a Facebook account, we all hopefully have a Twitter account, and we spend a lot of time communicating with other people. And advertisers and brands find that an important channel of communicating with their customers. Whether or not we've actually got to the stage where we've been able to monetize that social element, not so sure as yet. But everybody seems to see it as important. However, from a social perspective, unlike Google, who's been around for 12 or 14 years, Facebook only launched in 2004. And in terms of pages, which is where most of the advertisers and brands collect all of their fans and obviously advertise all their products and special offers, and that's only been around since 2009, so a mere 36 months. It's not old by any stretch of the imagination. 3 years ago, as an advertiser, you couldn't have a Facebook page. It didn't exist. Now we've got Facebook pages that have hidden content. We've got Facebook pages that have competitions running. We've got Facebook pages that have dynamic lead capture. All of these things have happened in the last 3 years. So it's a very rapidly moving industry, and yet 84% of the people in the room find it an integral part of what they do for their brand. Likewise with Twitter, launched in 2006, so even younger than Facebook, and paid ads, which in the UK are not necessarily all that prevalent at the moment, have only been available since 2010. So going back to that adoption strategy, they've been around for even less time, 18 months, 2 years, tops. And realistically, they're growing at a rapid rate. So again, 84% of you think that Facebook and or Twitter is important. They're very young in the grand scheme of traffic channels. So what's already in the sandbox? What are people already playing with? What are they trying out, working out if it works, carrying on with, knocking down, starting again? There's a number of things in there. Paid search has always been part of the affiliate channel. And still is a very important way of advertisers driving revenue on a very low risk basis. So if you look at paid search, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, your typical affiliate program would have been 70-odd% paid search. There would have been paid search publishers on brand, there would have been paid search publishers on generic, there would have been publishers driving traffic to their own sites via paid search, using the advertisers' keywords and using the advertisers' knowledge, and advertisers would share that. Today, that's probably slightly different. That's changed. Paid search publishers, while still important, are not necessarily that huge percentage. It's probably more like 5 or 10% today. And the reason for that is advertisers have got smarter in how paid search works. And they can do it themselves, right? But the reason a lot of advertisers that I've worked with are able to do that today is because they used affiliates to do it in the early days and learned from affiliate marketing. They got the affiliates to do it when they didn't necessarily want to commit the budgets themselves. Not necessarily good for our industry that advertisers potentially move stuff away, but it's a really good case in point of how a new technology, 10 years ago, a new traffic stream was left to the affiliates to test, prove the concept, and then move on, and it's become mainstream. Additionally, things like mobile. We heard Neil and James' presentation earlier about how mobile is so rapidly growing. I think most of us can probably breathe a bit of a sigh of relief that mobile's finally arrived, because I think going to various different trade shows and exhibitions over the last 6 years. It's always been the year of the mobile, and it's never arrived. It's here now. It's not something we could ignore, but it's also a really exciting place to be. It's a really exciting traffic stream that we can make use of. And again, you can look at it as a test ground for affiliate. You know, there are publishers out there, some of which we'll look at further in the presentation, who do some really cool things with mobile, and obviously building in the social elements as well. And these are things that advertisers can take advantage of right now that aren't going to cost them any money. It's going to cost them a percentage of their basket, but it's essentially risk-free. Retargeting, remarketing, I know there's a few retargeting and remarketing companies in the audience. You know, they were the realm of kind of CPC. You know, they were the realm of display budget until probably about 18 months ago. Now they're coming into the affiliate game. Do they offer CPA? Probably not. Do they offer effective CPA? Of course they do. Right? So advertisers have been actively asking for the way that they can use all of the mainstream stuff through affiliate. And that's been going on for years and years and years. And all of the stuff coming up, and all of the new technologies that are going to come out in the next 6 or 12 months, the same thing's going to happen. And then I think we've also got another question with regards to what you are like. This is more for the advertisers and agencies, more than anybody else in terms of question. But realistically, are any of those 4 things there, brand advocacy, virtual currency, community gifting, group buying, yeah, I'd like you guys to answer a question as to whether or not you see any of those as an integral part of your business over the next 18 months. I'm not talking about whether or not you think a huge chunk of your budget's going to go there. I'm asking as to whether or not you see it as an absolute must-have within the next 18 months. If you could vote now, that'd be great. Quite what I figured, right? No. And the reason is, these are essentially, in the main, brand new traffic streams. The new things that people don't know how to use, the new things that people haven't tested yet, and therefore I wouldn't necessarily see them as, you know, an 84% yes, and 92% yes, as we had with paid search and social. However, these are the kinds of things which are coming out from affiliates, from publishers, and which we're also being asked about by advertisers to start using. As a network, you know, we get inundated with requests from advertisers going, can you give me something cool? And that, as a network, can be quite difficult to answer that question, because for every advertiser, for every agency, the term cool is different. Everybody has a different interpretation of how they envisage cool. Now, some of them want social, some of them want mobile, some of them want technology, some of them just want the exact same publishers they had today, but just more of them. But the things that come out that are new, what we've seen with paid search, you know, if you had a paid search, a PPC account or an AdWords account with Google in 2001, and you spent a bit of cash with them, you carried on doing it, you're still doing it today, chances are, if your budget's big enough, and you've consistently used the service, Google's going to love you, right? You've been with them a long time, you know the system, everything's fine. The same goes with social. If you're one of the first to have a Facebook page, chances are you've got more followers than your competitors. If you've done everything right and you've followed the kind of best practice in terms of social strategies. So with any of these, nobody really has got it right yet, but what has been proven with paid search and social is that people who do it first tend to make the most mistakes, but also tend to benefit the most in the long run. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run through very, very quickly actually what these things are, because, you know, the majority of the room don't think they're important, and I would guess that there's probably some people in there who don't know what they are. Virtual currency, very quick and easy. I'm not going to read off the slides. It's basically a way of rewarding customers in a social environment. So if you think of, my favourite example is Farmville on Facebook. Anybody play Farmville? Show of hands. There's a few very, very kind of sheepish looking at. But if you want, 20 more cows for your farm, you have to go and buy them, right? You have to buy them. Now, there's 2 ways of doing that. You get your credit card out and put it into Facebook. No way I'd be giving Facebook my credit card details. Or alternatively, you can go to an offer wall within Facebook and interact with the brand. Now, that could be anything. It could be watching a trailer, could be liking a fan page, it could be buying a product. And that's what virtual currency is. When you buy that product, when you interact with that brand, you get gold coins, freezing cows, yellow chickens, I don't whatever it is. But it's some sort of online currency that you want, that you value, and helps you progress in something that's not directly sales related. It's something, bear in mind, virtual currency, interrupting anybody in a social network, they're not there to buy stuff most of the time. They're there to do other things. They're there to interact with people. They're there to be social. That's the whole point of a social network. So to get people to buy stuff is an interruption to what they were doing already. So virtual currency is a really good way of incentivizing people who are doing something else to do what you want them to do, which is buy your goods and services. It's a really good way of doing it. It is, by and large, applicable to very specific offer types. Things like low-value baskets. Anything under £30 tends to work well, but it is a massively high volume. If you think about the number of people that are on Facebook every day from the UK, it's massive. I heard a quote the other day that said if Facebook was a country, it would be third, behind China, I think was said. So realistically, it's a massive opportunity for people to engage with a large number of people very, very quickly. Brand advocacy. This one's probably a little bit newer than virtual currency. Virtual currency has been around a while. But brand advocacy is the ability to use your existing customers who have a really good experience of your brand to share that experience with other people. So it's using your customer base, hopefully positive people in your customer base, to share with everybody else about how good the service or product that they receive from you were. An extreme example of this is there's a guy in the US at the moment who's getting paid something like $250,000 a year, and he's basically sold the rights to his life to 4 different companies. I'm not going to mention who they are. But he's only allowed to eat at one world-renowned fast food chain. Guess which one? He's only allowed to drink one brand of soft drink, he's only allowed to wear one brand of clothing, and he's only allowed to drive one brand of car. And he's sold the rights to his life on the basis that they'll pay him so he can tell his friends how good they are, and anybody else that he can lay his hands on, basically. That's an extreme version. But what you can do is, as an advertiser, is you can use this to help people who've already bought from you share that knowledge. Plug in a social sharing widget. Get a company or a publisher who specializes in social sharing to distribute that message in a nicely branded way. All of that kind of stuff falls into brand advocacy. The upside of brand advocacy is it does blur the lines with social media, but it has that direct sales KPI attached to it. So it is definitely about the sales channel. Community gifting, even more important at the moment, considering times are tough for most people. The days of buying very expensive presents for your mates who you don't really like, they're gone. Community gifting is an easy way, or a very effective way, to get a lot of people together to increase basket values. Because each individual person only has to give a small amount. And it's about getting that group of people together. Now you can do this in one of two ways. Either through the social networks, I can do something like put on my Facebook page, I would like a laptop for my birthday, and a bunch of my mates can club in. Or alternatively, one of my mates, if they really like me, could email the rest of my friends and say, let's get Andy a laptop for his birthday, and they can all club in. This allows for a lot of cross-advertiser opportunities, so less probably of a branding exercise, more of a direct sales exercise. Because if you think about it, if I want some stuff, and I'm doing community gifting, I can pick one product from this advertiser, one product from that advertiser, 20 different advertisers, put it in a list and go, if you guys want to get me something, get me this, or one of these. So it's more about the product, but it does allow for a huge group of people, namely my friends, who are all clubbing in, to suddenly be exposed to what the price of the product is, who it's from, where it is. And although they're buying it for me, they're not buying it for themselves. That's one area of direct sales. But the ability to be exposed to the product, and maybe they go, oh, yeah, that could be quite cool for me as well, I might have one of those. It's a dual sales channel, which is really effective. And then group buying, we all know group buying. The difference with group buying through the affiliate channel is not that it works any differently. It works exactly the same way. The issue is that with publishers, or with certain publishers which we are beginning to talk to and we're seeing come to us and ask whether clients are interested in group buying, is they're actually letting the clients run the deals themselves. So it's not like going to your favourite group buying sites and they've gone off and sourced a deal. It's about an advertiser going, you know what, I've got 10,000 laptops sitting in my warehouse from 3 seasons ago. Realistically, I've got to make some space for some new ones. How do I get rid of them? You could run a massive sale on site, but group buying is a time-sensitive, engaging way to get rid of that stock at a knockdown price, we all know this. But it's not necessarily going to be something which is going to take you 6 months to do or a year to do to get that stock out. You can probably do it in a day or two if you have the right compelling message and the right publishers working for you. And it's very interesting that this is now starting to come through the affiliate channel, because historically, obviously, the margins that advertisers make on group buying have been quite low. If you run a group buying deal with somebody, you'll end up having to give 60% off to the consumer, and then there's still a costing associated with the actual provider of the group buying side. With the publishers that we have now, that's not necessarily the case. The consumer discount still has to be there, but the actual cost associated with the partner you're working with is a huge amount less. So that's just 4, right? That's just 4 of them. But if you look at the sandbox from what we had earlier, which had the kind of mainstream stuff like paid search, we had some display stuff, we had mobile, you add in things like remarketing, you add in group buying, you add in retargeting, you add in brand advocacy. Suddenly, affiliate becomes a lot more interesting, becomes a lot more engaging, becomes a huge amount more fun to work in, really. Even as from an advertiser's perspective, it's not that one little box on the bottom left-hand corner of the initial buy. It's something which kind of puts its finger in all the different pies of your business and tries to make the best out of it. And it allows you to test all these things with that big halo safety net, which is the CPA. If you then overlay that, or underlay that, with what is considered to be by many the kind of bedrock of affiliate marketing, the stuff that everybody should be doing, price comparison, content, cashback, voucher codes, suddenly you've got an affiliate program which is really complicated, yet really, really interesting to manage. And the learnings are going to come out of that. I'm not saying all of that's going to work. If you try all of those 10 kind of honeycomb-looking boxes in the middle, 3 might work for you, 1 might work for you. But it gives you the ability to test it. So going back to the kind of whole point of this presentation, it's not necessarily to say you need to go out and try brand advocacy. You need to go out and try virtual currency. That's not the point. The point of this is to say, use your network to find out what is new, what's cool. Because today it might be, I'm not so sure about that for my business, but like Google was 14 years ago, there were a lot of people who said that then. Now you can't live without it. Some of those things, in 5 years' time, might also be I can't live without this type of publisher, or type of traffic stream. But you won't know that today unless you give it a bash. So in summary, use affiliate as a playground. Don't discount things because they don't fit into your business model. I'm not saying use everything. I'm not saying grab it as every single opportunity that comes through. But look at it objectively. Look at it as a way of, could this work? Not will this work. Will this work is possibly not the right way of going about it. Could this work is a much more interesting question. That's quite cool, could this work? If it doesn't cost you anything, if the risk is associated with a CPA rather than a tenancy budget or a part of your marketing budget, there's no harm in giving it a shot. Give it a try, see how we go. So new traffic streams quickly become crucial. They're not new for long. Google, 14 years on, mainstream. Facebook, 6 years on, mainstream. Or 8 years on, mainstream. So realistically, the time frames between something being new and it being embedded within your business, getting shorter by the day. Mobile. Realistically, mobile's only really penetrated probably the last 2 years. Now it's mainstream. You saw everybody earlier going, yes, mobile is definitely on the cards. 95% of people who responded had mobile as either in development or somewhere down the road. So the times are getting shorter. You don't have that huge amount of time to play with things anymore. Those days are gone. That's kind of the end of the presentation, really. I'm going to open it up to questions. I've been asked to ask if anybody does have a question, if you could start off by saying who you are.